Yeah, okay. No, it's okay. That is not. Almost
Damn
every
it.
day. Almost every day! I'll see the story,
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, well, for a point of inspiration, would anyone like to go over what happened last time?
You're not giving him a point of
Everyone's awake.
inspiration for that.
Have you started recording, C?
I did, because I wanted to
Sorry.
catch Dylan's impression.
Awesome.
So that's how the video is starting. You're
We
welcome,
also
Internet.
have your overlay up. There you go.
I mean, I could do the recap, but from Reese's perspective, it was mostly horse-based, so...
There's a couple vital details.
I mean... The horses, though.
Better than your perspective being a close-up of a mace. Not that I'm holding a grudge or anything, Liam.
It's fine.
That's okay. I can do the recap for a point of inspiration.
Done, yeah.
After Mainar
Oh,
worked so diligently to get everyone silvered weapons, you guys were leaving the village of Barovia and encountered a strange woman who was going door to door selling what she called dream pastries. And you witnessed this woman selling several of them to people, and you were kind of following her, and then saw her come across another house where, in exchange for an entire tray of pastries, she was given a small boy, and watched her bundle the kid up, put him in her cart, and began to trundle off. You all put a stop to that rather quickly, getting the boy free, and the woman offered up some information in exchange for her life, but there was a bit of argument over whether or not to take the woman up on her offer, and during the distraction, she decided to, she vanished, and you weren't able to end her permanently, as some of the party members wanted to do. There was a bit of a falling out, for lack of the nicest way to put it, between Minar and Meadowmane, as Minar was curious about the dream pastries and was trying to secure some for his own research, and Meadowmane took offense to that, as he suspected that there were the remains of small children in the dream pastries. I don't know why he might think that.
Because that's what the most intelligent member of the party, Redwin, said.
Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
He's gonna take your intuition at face value.
Sure. You know, that's
Wasn't
just,
my
you know,
logic, anyway.
you know, allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
allegedly pastries.
Allegedly, there were minors in the pastry.
Minar's in the pastry.
But a bit of an argument and a scuffle ensues. Various party members blaming the others for the woman's escape, and now Meadowmane and some of the others are quite insistent that you all investigate the Bone Grinder windmill, because that is where it is suspected that this woman came from. And yeah, so after that, you guys continue on your way to Balaki, stopping by the gallows at the River Ilvis crossroads, where Devon encounters a strange illusion of like herself hanging from the gallows, and while you were there, you found what was left of a bundle of clothes that you suspect were the remains of a werewolf that was prowling in that territory. And after a little bit of investigation, you guys decide not to try and hang around for said werewolves, and continued on your way to the Vistani camp near the Sar pool, which is near like the edge of the waterfall. You were welcomed heartily by several of the drunk and very cheerful Vistani, who insisted that you go and visit Madame Ava almost immediately. The cackling old lady seemed to know quite a lot about all of you, calling Minar by a different name, implying that Devon was perhaps being a bit hypocritical in some of her condemnations of the others, and as well as referring to Reese, despite him not being in the tent, and his possession of wings. So it's very clear that this woman knows quite a lot about all of you, and explained that she knows why you all are here, and offered to do a reading to help you in your quest to defeat Strahd. Her reasons for doing so were left
Inspiration.
were left to her own counsel. And yes, I will be taking an inspiration. So I believe we ended the last session with Bran kind
Find out
of.
every
Huh?
now.
Here, Steve, you're breaking up a little bit.
I'm breaking up?
You are. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. You guys were breaking up for me. But yeah, I was just saying, yes, I will be taking an inspiration. And we left off with Bran having a bit of words with Redwyn after there was some slight prodding of the sore wounds between him and Redwyn by Devon.
Can't take her anywhere.
Oh yeah, stirring the pot. Madame Ava kind of smiles at those who remain, shuffling her cards, but otherwise not really paying any of you much attention. It
Are
seems
we
as
doing
though
here,
you are.
Danny?
It would seem as though you've been dismissed.
We're only getting like a couple words out of you at a time.
Yeah, I heard shuffling cards, big pause. Is big pause.
Fun times. All right. Let me see if I can get my laptop in a more favorable position. And let me. I'm going to switch channels on my Wi-Fi, so let's see how that goes for me. You might lose me for a second. Okay, how am I doing now? Oh. Well, it did not like that channel at all, apparently. Hopefully I sound a bit better. I tried to switch the networks because we've got like a dual network or whatever, and the other one I connected to said I had internet, but that it lied. I couldn't connect to anything.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's like, you're connected, internet secure, and nope. Anyways.
Well, that was a very long sentence, and I heard all of it, so I think that's a good sign.
Yay! Okay. So, yes, she, Madame Ava, it seems as though you've been dismissed. Madame Ava is just kind of shuffling cards, not really paying any of you much mind.
Redmond's gonna stay put until the rest leave, if they leave.
Yeah, Madame gonna head out. You'll say to Madame Ava, "Oh, you have a good night, dear Madame, dear, eh?"
I shall.
Right, let's go then. And he heads out after Bran.
Devin will look at Madame Ava and be like, I don't know what you think you know, but it's pretty much shit, so...
You see Madame Ava kind of playing with her cards, and across, she kind of like flips two fingers up in like one of like those little card trick kind of things, and flashes you a card that has a bear on the card, and says nothing.
It's just a picture of Brannock.
Devin will just kind of turn on her heels and walk out.
Is Redmond alone?
I think Minar is the only one that hasn't said if he's left.
I shuffled out nervously.
You obviously possess much wisdom, Madam Ava. Would you favour me with one more answer?
That depends on the question.
Is there a way that we might save Adeline?
What name did you say?
Adeline. Deep cut from Minar's backstory.
Yeah. There
I
are...
didn't even know my own backstory that well.
Yeah, yeah. She kind of like looks up at you, and like the cards in her hands kind of shuffle, and she kind of spreads a few across like the table in between you, and there's like, you know, the like suddenly like her card set has kind of turned to a more familiar like tarot, with like the tower and the devil and lovers kind of across like the tri-spread. And she says, there are ways, whether or not they are acceptable. This is a place where dark powers tend to congregate, and if you're willing to make those kinds of deals, anything is possible. But they always enact a terrible price.
I'm going to assume you said they enact a terrible price.
Yes.
Yeah, she did. I heard that one okay, actually.
Oh, really? Was it me? Okay.
There was a little jump, but I heard it all right.
Okay. Well, Redmond's gonna say, well, I was afraid to say that, but thank you nonetheless.
You do have a cleric in your midst. Perhaps if you make good friends of such clerics, eventually they might come to power.
That's true. You know, I've done my best, but something tells me they don't like me very much. Either way.
Well, there... She kind of chuckles and says that it is not always the case that men of reason have their reasons well seasoned. She says, kind of chuckling at like her silly rhyme. It's like, he doesn't like the suffering of others, even if the knowledge would further your goals.
Well, nobody likes suffering, but we almost endure it, yeah? the fight we all share. Thank you again, Madam Ava.
Perhaps there is a need for empathy from all parties involved.
Obviously, our accent.
It is a rare commodity, even in Barovia especially.
Sorely needed.
She nods.
Head outside. We walk to the group, I guess. walk to Minar specifically. How's that head?
Yeah, about 2 sizes too big.
Well, that was always the case, so no real change, eh?
Oh, after I find your concern overwhelming.
Well, it's your life.
For now.
And you all kind of gather in like the Vistani camp. Several of them are drinking and making merry, playing various instruments and stuff, and they kind of see you all like leaving Madame Ava's tent and kind of gesture with like wide arms, like inviting you all to come join them.
What's everybody else doing? Redmond is definitely like taking a back seat to watch the group.
Is Dree still the horse? Oh. I'm gonna go over and just try and wrangle him. Come on there now. You've had your fun. I don't want to say it like
Come join the others, young man.
Yeah.
Go give your auntie a kiss.
Get away from me, Ava.
Such a sweet young man.
He'll turn to you, look at you, and you can tell he's in a bit of a reverie. And he sort of blinks like, oh shit, yeah, there's other people here.
Are you okay there, bud?
I'm fine. Yeah. And he'll like sort of turn to follow you away from the horses.
He has a questioning look on his face, but it's got a soft smile as well. It's a bit like when a kid sees something they're really excited about and they're just starstruck, and the adults just have to stand there looking at him for a while and then go, "Okay, come on." It's a bit like that.
He didn't know.
See, I bring Reese over. I'm happy enough to sit near the Vistani boys.
There's an older man that kind of like looks at you all, kind of with bald hair and like wisps of white around like what is otherwise a balding crown, and he like kind of offers you all like a flagon of wine, and is all like, "We Vistani are really good storytellers. Would you like to hear a few stories? I've got a few that might interest you, and if you have any stories of your own, well, please share them. We always like to have a good bit of entertainment."
Redmond's again sitting back and kind of taking the pulse.
Not really the right crowd. Reese will kind of mutter, glance at all the edgy people around him.
Kind of like nods knowingly, and is all like, "Hi, sometimes people get like that after speaking to Madame Ava, but you're welcome here. There's no reason for tension. Just relax, enjoy yourselves. You are safe under Madame Ava's hospitality." He kind of like looks at you all, kind of shifting awkwardly at the silence.
You got anything to drink?
He has offered you wine twice now. And he kind of
Got anything,
gestures.
got anything a little stronger than that to drink?
Tell us a story, and you can have your pick of what's in our tents.
Ain't got no stories.
Then you'll have to be happy with what's on offer.
You're a monster hunter there. How do you not have any stories? Of fighting mythical beasts there, eh?
I bet you've got a story there, tall one.
Oh no, I'm just Meadowman there, eh? I'm just a healer from a small farming town there, eh?
No. But now you're here, so you've got to have a story there, yeah? Yeah. If it'll make you comfortable, I'll go first.
That's all. I missed that. Sorry, what?
He said, if it make you comfortable, I'll go first.
Oh, I think that'll be alright, Derry. Meadowman looks to the others. So this is because the three monster hunters who should definitely have stories, and he is very curious about them now.
Right. Well, would you like to hear about how the Vistani came to be here in Barovia?
Yeah, sounds like a story.
As good as a place to start as any, Derry.
He kind of claps his hands together with glee. You can see like his wild eyes kind of sparkling in excitement, and he picks up the flagon that he offered to Devon and fills his mouth with wine and spits into the fire, and the flames turn from orange to green, and as they dance and sway, a dark shape appears in the bonfire's core. We come from an ancient land whose name is long forgotten, a land of kings. Our enemies forced us from our homes, and now we wander the lost roads between realms. The dark shape in the fire takes the form of a man being knocked from his horse, a spear piercing his side, and he continues. One night, a wounded soldier staggered into our camp and collapsed. We nursed his terrible injury and quenched his thirst with wine. He survived, and when he asked him who he was, he wouldn't say. All he wanted was to return home. But we were deep in the land of his enemies. We took him in as one of our own and followed him back to his homeland. His enemies hunted him. They said he was a prince, yet we did not give him up, even when the assassins fell upon us like wolves. And deep in the bonfire you see the dark figure standing with sword drawn, fighting off a host of shadowy shapes. This man of royal blood fought to protect us as we protected him. We bore him safely to his home, and he thanked us. He said, I owe you my life. Stay as long as you wish. Leave when you choose, and know that you will always be safe here. The figure in the dancing fire vanquishes its final foe and then disperses in a cloud of smoke and embers, and his face becomes a somber mask. A curse has befallen our noble prince, turning him into a tyrant. We alone have the power to leave his domain. We've traveled far and wide to find heroes such as yourselves to end our dread lord's curse and put his troubled soul to rest. Our leader, Madam Ava, knows all, and predicted that you would be such heroes. I'm glad that you have agreed to come here and speak with her. It is quite promising, he says kind of soberly, and takes a bow. See,
Right.
Meadowman, what are you doing?
he was clapping.
Oh, that's what he was
With my hands, Robert. You mind at the door.
Very informative. Thank you for sharing.
And he takes another bow, and he says, "My name is Stanimir.
Well met, Stanimir. Stanimir?
Standamir, with an M.
Well met, Stanimir.
But you're not standing me. You're standing there. Hey. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Sure. I'm sure you could, but you didn't. And he goes, kind of like looks at you all expectantly and says, "Right. Any stories of your own? Like I said, tell us a good one, and you can have your pick of whatever's in our tents. Beer, wine, booze, whatever you might like. First thing you see, it's yours."
It'd have to be a true story.
Oh, no, but those always have, like, the best kind of rings to them, you know?
Suppose that's true.
But come on now. This is where we set aside our differences. You being outsiders, we being Vistani, and, you know, come on, we are brothers in blood, if not in nature.
I got a story.
Oh, please. And he kind of like sits down eagerly on like the little rock that he's got next to like the bonfire and is like an excited little kid.
I grew up in Moonsea, up north from where we're from. A little city called Hillsfar. My mother was a herbalist. We used to travel out into the woods and find things for her to make potions and salves and whatnot. But I knew her family, my mother, and he's sort of like staring into the fire as though, there's images there that only he can see. But everyone always said she was an angel. And one day, she was out a little ways out from the city, and she was attacked by pirates, among other things. As they bore down on her, she suddenly sprouted wings, took to the sky. Right, she flew out over the water, and well, she survived that day, but she was never the same after. She died long enough, and he sort of like trails off, like he wasn't expecting to. He'd forgotten how the story ended and realized that he didn't want to talk about it anymore.
So story goes, Ribbon says.
And
Kind of looks into the fire without making eye contact.
Stanimir kind of has like these wide puppy eyes, and he's all like, "Oh, but she really was an angel, wasn't she?" He says, kind of like you can hear him like getting like kind of emotional, and he's all like gives you like big old claps of like his little thin knuckled hands or whatever, and he's like, "That's worth a prize," he says, kind of wiping his tears, and like gestures towards like the tents, and he's like, "Please, go take your prize."
Kind of glance at Devon and get to his feet to go. Kind of awkwardly have a look for a bottle or something.
Roll me a d20 as you enter the first tent. As you enter a tent.
Oh boy! Oh, crit.
For real?
Let's try to. Yeah, for real crit.
Okay. Roll me a d100 then.
Oh boy!
About to get himself a Holy Avenger.
Yeah. 29.
Right. As you enter the tent, the first thing that you see is a bottle of something. Most definitely. And it is a like like large this large potion with like this red liquid that as you like enter the tent you see like what it's kind of glowing faintly, and as you approach it kind of has like a lick of like this like, kind of yellowish flame kind of come up from like the bottom of the bottle and kind of like wreath around like the interior of the potion or interior of the bottle.
Oh damn!
And you have yourself a potion of fire breath.
I mean,
It's definitely not booze, but he did say that.
Common
He was-
purposes, I think.
he was
Yeah.
certainly looking for booze.
And you were told
Um,
to take the first thing you saw.
Well, all right then. I got a potion of fire breath.
We always.
You want a monster hunting story?
Oh, please. Those are always exciting.
All right. It was probably like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years back. Some little fucking podunk town that I can't even remember the name of, to be completely honest with you. Scraped about every last piece together to entice a monster hunter to come to their little village and solve their problem. Apparently, they've had people going missing. There's stories of ghouls or some. I don't even remember what caught my attention about it, but so I go into town and I'm asking questions and trying to find out all the information I can. Town's got this real scummy cleric around taking everybody's coin, telling them he's praying for their sins, and doesn't know why Paylor abandoned them. The real usual kind of charlatan bullshit you normally get out of those folk. But so I get a good tip, right? And I head into this old abandoned cabin outside of town, and Christ. So I hear the screaming before I even get halfway down the lane, and I'm start running all the way, burst into the cellar, and fucking priest has got him in cages, right? Got a couple kids, like one of the barmaids who had been missing, and he's fucking just going on this arm of some, I don't even know who it was. So yeah, I make quick work of him, free who I can, and burn the house to the ground, and collect my coin and on my way.
Stanimir, similarly to Reese's story, has like wide eyes where he's like drinking in like every detail, and he at the end of your story he's just, well, if there's anyone that deserves a prize, it's someone who risked themselves to save so many, and gestures towards the tent with like this exaggerated like showmanship like sweep of his arm.
Does the name Palo ring any bells to me?
Roll me a wisdom check using your intelligence modifier.
You mean a religion check using my intelligence modifier?
Yeah.
Yep.
Roll me a
Like a
charisma
wisdom
check
or
using
a
your
Shut,
strength modifier.
shut up. What was that?
I haven't. I've just rolled it. Let me. Max. That is a 15, I think.
Yeah. Palor is
Yeah, sorry, 15.
yeah, he's a well-known deity, especially in like the Sword Coast where you hail from, the morning not the morning lord, but yeah, the god of dawn, life and renewal and all that other good things. Kind of reminds you of what they've said about the morning lord here, but from like the symbols that you've seen of the morning lord at Donovich's church. It's not the same deity, but
Okay.
yeah,
There could be some crossover there, potentially.
potential.
Assuming Barovia is in the same universe as this one.
It's from the things that you've heard about like the deities here, you get, and from like Red Wind's like, hey, we're on another plane that he says constantly. You don't think so.
Okay.
Similar enough in whatever, but definitely not the same god because you're not on the same
Yeah,
plane
not
of
like
existence.
Greek and Roman, but more like Greek and Norse. They
Yes.
have similar concepts, but they're completely different.
Yes.
Actually, gods.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Roll me a d20, Jade.
9.
9. You find yourself a very, very large bottle of whiskey.
All right.
The true prize.
Reese looks jealous.
Sure,
You can have some.
bottle of whiskey versus uncommon magic item. Yeah, let's be jealous of the whiskey. Sure. I'm sorry. Does anyone else have a story to share for Stanimir? He's kind of like looking at you all like an excited puppy. Especially like looking at like the other two, the third of the monster hunters who has not yet shared a story.
It's not terribly interesting, but I suppose I can give you a quick one there, eh?
Oh, all right, he says, like grinning. And like as you guys have been like telling stories, like more of the Vistani have kind of like coming around the fire to join you all, like passing around like turkey legs and like other like little, like it's now like it's a dinner thing now. Like they're all like coming and drinking and eating.
Is there wine being passed about?
Yeah, there is definitely some wine being passed about.
Redmond will partake of the wine.
Okay.
Because of what I do, go around healing people, a lot of people ask me to make pilgrimage to different cities and do all that healing stuff that I was blessed with there, eh? I got a letter, and one such place was a cathedral in Waterdeep for Shanti. My dad, Brethard, he seemed he didn't want. He was upset because I like traveling with me dad there, eh? But eventually he talked me. He said, "Oh, you should go on your own." So I said, "Okay." So I found myself a caravan that was heading from my home in Longsaddle over to Waterdeep to meet this cathedral, so I could make a speech or do some healing, something like that. On the way, I was speaking to the group there, and they say they were confused because there's not a Shanti cathedral in Waterdeep there, eh? And it's probably just a new startup there, eh? And then I walk through the city gates, and then I see the priest of Shanti, and he looks exactly like how you'd think a priest would look there, eh? He's got all these tattoos on his arms, and he's wearing these pastel pink robes. It's very official looking. We shake hands, and then he leads me into a warehouse, and that's when everything goes black. It turns out that the priest was not, in fact, a priest of Shanti. He was. Apparently, my father used to work with them. He used to be a member, but one day he found out that his partner was pregnant with his son or daughter. They didn't know at the time, obviously, and they weren't happy. Apparently, my dad was pretty good at what he did there, eh? He as he took care of this girl, and he was in love with her, and he realized that what he was doing wasn't okay, and that it wouldn't be able to support a family there. So he left. He left under cover of night with his girl and made their way all the way to Longsaddle, and that's where they made their life, and that's where they raised me. Turns out that the Thieves Guild obviously weren't very happy with that. They had hoped that my dad had come with me, so that they could take their revenge there. So I came to break free and take care of them all. I didn't want to kill them, but you know, means to an end, and self-defense. You know how it is. I got out of Waterdeep. I got all the way back home. I had a long talk with my dad, and we all hugged, and I was angry, but I forgave them. I understood my wasn't that anymore. He'd learned and he'd grown there, eh? Raising me seemed to be really important to him, both him and my mother. And now we're better off for it. And that's why I have my armor and my mace. It's just in case the Thieves Guild decide to try again there, eh?
Well, big fellow like you, they should have known better. And
I'm actually quite small for a furbolg.
his eyes go even wider. You can see like whites like completely around like all edges of his iris, and he kind of swallows nervously at that thought and gestures towards the tents. Roll me a d20.
10.
10. You also find a very large bottle of what looks to be like this golden colored mead.
Is it the same branding as the one that I had before, or is it different?
No, completely different.
What's it called?
It doesn't have a label.
Oh, damn it. Nice cover. Meadowman heads out and looks to like the group. He's like as he's holding the whiskey, he's praying, giving thanks to Shanti for
Mead.
for blessing him
Mead
with
is
this
not whiskey.
mead. Mead. And he blesses. It's made with grain though, right?
Honey.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. He blesses Shanti for giving this gift. He walks over and he hands it to Minar, taking his seat again.
Adore, how nice of you.
Try to sweeten me up.
You're already sweet enough there, Minor. Do.
Redwin will speak up and say, I don't suppose you like stories of love and heartbreak.
Oh, those are the best ones. Stanimir says. You can already see like his eyes getting a little weepy.
Well, like 'em all, this one begins happy and ends quite sad, so prepare. Might not surprise you, sort of leaning back with a cigarette in his hand and looking very casual, to learn that I was raised by drunkards, harlots, and thieves, and have grown to be a bit of a scoundrel myself. I made my father and uncle quite proud in my early years as a professional liar. Made quite a bit of money for him too. It wasn't until later that I learned the arts of divination, spellcraft. Began to glimpse the future, here and there. Spits and spats, nothing too consequential. And I never thought much for trying for anything better in my life. Not until the day that Esme came into my life. A beautiful woman, half-elven, hair the colour of corn in the summer. And I knew from the moment I saw her that I wanted her. And naturally, I hands her up, much to her chagrin. But when we talked, I learned that she was looking for another deadbeat that wasn't me, a dad, all from Baldur's Gate, long estranged. And when something shifted in me. And what admittedly began as a sexual conquest became something different. And I had my first real flash of destiny. I knew that I would love her forever. And that she would leave me. But nonetheless, I'll have my skills and my connections to help her. And considering my scandalous nature, I'm not sure why she said yes, but perhaps she felt as I did. And she let me come along. Of course, it turns out as her dad was a scoundrel not worth knowing, but she learned to love me for what I am. Faults and all. She told me she saw a good man. And she brought it out in me, I think. We spent years together. And she led us down a path that I never thought I would walk. A virtuous one. She taught me things I never thought I'd know. Excuse me. How to speak with the earth, with the beasts. How to know the cruelty of fate, but feel joy at the brief moments of beauty and love in our lives. And just when I had acclimated to this new awareness, she took ill. Like the garden she tended in our apartment. The season had ended. And no matter what the healers of the priest did to help her, she just got sicker. And then everyone does. And so now I know, even if fate is immutable, the life we live can still be something worth living.
And Stanimir is like in tears by the end of your story. Is just kind of like full on blubbering. It's not right. It's not right. Having us snatched away from you like that.
Oh, there, it's all right. Lord us together, didn't it?
He's like, oh, that's a very nice way of looking at it. He's like sobs into your shoulder, and after a little while, he remembers himself and pulls away, wiping his tears, and gestures towards one of the tents. It's not a fair substitute for what yours, but hopefully it brings you joy.
Well, of course. But now the question will dog you forever. Did I lie just to get you whiskey? Then I'll go into the tent.
Roll me a d20. Or you can use one of your portents if you wish.
Well, am I likely to need it in any other context this session?
Well, you get to roll at the start of a new day, and it is evening, so that's up to you.
Yeah, sure. I'll take my 15.
Okay. The very first thing that you see whenever you enter the tent is a small sack. When you open it up, it contains about 10 pieces of cheap jewelry that are worth about 25 gold pieces each.
Sweet.
And then you find 5 pieces of fine jewelry that are worth 250 gold pieces each.
10 pieces of jewelry worth 25 gold pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Pieces worth how much?
5 pieces of fine jewelry worth 250 each.
250. Sweet.
Let me roll a d100. Not that way. I got cocked. Okay, one of the fine pieces of jewelry, it has a very, very large pearl in the centerpiece. You
Does it strike? Sorry, go ahead.
it does strike you as something that is worth at least 100 gold pieces.
Okay. So the pearl itself, apart from the piece it's in, is worth 100 gold pieces.
Yeah.
And each of those pieces of jewelry is worth 250?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
One is a fine pearl.
Gotcha. Okay, so 4 pieces worth 250, one worth 100?
Like there's other bits in the setting, like the gold might be worth, and then like there's like other pieces in the setting, but like the pearl itself is worth at least 100 gold pieces. It might be worth more than that. It's like basically you look at that pearl and you're all like, oh dang, that's a nice pearl.
Well, I like to think Redwin knew exactly what was in there.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, wait, there's a lot of gold in there. We'll take that.
All right, very nice. Is there anyone else that cares to tell a story? In exchange for this, was it, something surprise? I can't remember what it's called in The Witcher.
Lore of surprise.
This law of surprise story for for a surprise. I kept going like child surprise, but no, that's not what the entire thing is called. That's just what Geralt ended up with.
Well, I'm not a seasoned adventurer or long traveller like my companions here, and I'm a person who values my privacy, so for tales for myself. You seem like people who enjoy tales of omens and premonitions and the like, however. I think I can just about recall something I read as a boy in a dusty old book in my father's library, if you like.
Stanimar, like, nods, excitedly, and he's like, of course, any kind of story, really?
Well then. There's a small village nestled in the valley in the frozen far called Skuldal. Good land, worked by good people. One year when all the crops had been gathered from the fields and the people rejoiced at their splendid harvest, celebrating as the sun set, there came a terrible screaming from the high hills. The people of the village recognised the sound as that of a goat, but louder, harsher, more jarring and ominous than anything they heard, as its screams echoed through the valley, unnerving them all. For 8 nights, as the sun set, the goat would scream, paining the ears of those below and robbing them of sleep until the dawn's light climbed it. As you can imagine, this startled the people of Skoda. It must belong to someone who's gotten loose, they said. But they checked and no one was missing any of their livestock. It sounds as though injured, the said. But no wolves were seen nor heard as long as the goat was there. On the 9th day, the villagers were weak without sleep, so they decided to act. Several of the townsfolk decided that as night fell, they would go out and hunt the beast down, putting an end to its torment. One of the hunters, a young man, I believe his name was Gretar. Yes, we'll go with Gretar. Decided to set off alone night and wait for the goat to begin its nightly dirge. He waited upon a rock with his father's old spear as the sun gave way to starless night. He sat for a while. Quiet noises of the land, peaceful and still, all his ears could hear. He could feel sleep beckoning after a while, and hope rise within him that their ordeal was over. As his eyelids came a scream from behind him. Startled, Gretar nearly fell, but hefty the spear leapt to his feet and spun, coming face to face with the goat mere yards away. Darker than the night itself, it stood out like a shadow. His eyes shone bright, yellow, and something about the way it looked at Gretar caused him to lower the spear. He could see an intelligence in its golden eyes as it regarded him. The spear tight and stood with his back straight. Why do you come nightly and scream? he asked of the goat. Why do you chill our bones with your call and chase sleep from our eyes? The goat tilted its horned head, opened its mouth and spoke. Why do you continue to sleep at night when you know I will be coming? Greta, bewildered, had no answer to give. He looked towards the ground, taking his eyes from the goat as he fought. He said to ask a question, but the beast was already gone, and he was left alone in the dark. The screams continued to be heard from the hills that night, but no other sign of the goat could be found. Greta made home as the sun rose, meeting the others and telling them of his encounter. The story was told throughout the village, and the people of Skoda agreed that they would sleep during the day and toil in the fields at night, and so they did. And while they did, they knew peace from the scream. For 8 nights they continued to do this. The people once more felt rested. On the 9th night, the entire village was awake, and it was a good thing they were, as that night the raiders came, hoping to take advantage of the darkness and the lateness of the hour to catch the villagers off guard, expecting them to be at rest and deep in slumber. The people of Skoda, however, were awake and alert. They quickly armed themselves and, fresh from a day of rest, attackers. From that day forth, the people of Skoda thought they got a messenger from the gods, and each harvest they lay an offering of mead and milk on the rock where Grettir sat the night he met it. It has not been seen nor heard of since, but the ball was always empty come the morning.
Stenimar is, and like the other Vistani are like glued to Minar's story, just kind of like drinking it all in, like their eyes kind of reflecting like the campfire around them, in front or between you all, and at the end of your story, they all just kind of like take like this deep breath and clap, and Stenimar kind of nods sagely and is all like, that's right, that's right. Sometimes it's best to adapt to any new situation so nothing can surprise you. And, well read, well remembered, there, friend, and gestures towards the tents. You may roll with advantage. There, checks.
What the fuck?
I really liked that story.
That's a lucky 13.
Lucky 13. Okay. You find the first thing you see whenever you walk in is another sack, but inside this one, instead of jewelry, you find 100 electrum pieces that have been stamped with a strange face. A handsome man in profile, a kind of like long pointed ears and like slightly fanged teeth, like curving over one lip, or over his lip.
Is it Brenna?
You don't know who it is. But Reki, sure, no, it's some sort of vampire.
That'll spend just the same.
Yep. And the Vistani all kind of like look at Bran, being the
It's the same thing. Kindly,
being
with
the
a warm smile on his face.
yeah, they kind of look expectantly at Bran, being the last of the group.
He looks the storyteller guy in the eye, and just goes with words, and he just stands up and walks away. And he's gonna go take his pack and sit on the edge of the camp with the horses nearby, because if anything spooks them, they might wake him. And he's gonna play the violin for a bit.
There is a little bit of a pout from Stenimir, but the Vistani kind of quickly shake it off and begin conversing among themselves.
Reese will like sort of get up and kind of wish everyone a good night, sort of thing, and look like he's gonna try and head off to go and find somewhere to bed down. but is actually going to try and sneak to Madame Ava's tent if he can.
Oh, sure.
Like stealthing?
He's going to try. He's
Oh,
not
I'm gonna roll
very good.
perception.
Oh, but do you have a reason to? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, passive perception if you want.
13. Please roll.
14.
Please roll.
Yeah. For those of you with a passive perception higher than 13, you kind of see Reese sneaking off after story time towards Ava's tent.
He thinks he's been sneaky, but he stepped in a bucket and he...
Yeah, I was just...
His cloak,
Does that count?
his cloak
He,
got
like-
caught on something. and
He gets up and then realizes he's gone the wrong way and has to like cross through the middle of the camp and like where everyone's telling stories again to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, so you go to Madame Ava's tent and she like looks up at you with like and tilts an eyebrow because the others hadn't really told you what transpired in the tent, and she kind of so you see like this kind of like white wizened old woman dressed in like the Bastani robes of that everyone else kind of seems to enjoy, and la 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 la. Yeah, she just kind of like looks up at you and smiles as you come in, and is like, "Ah, Reese Meredith, I've been expecting you."
He looks a little stony faced, and he kind of sits down opposite. You can see things that are
See things that are what?
yet to pass.
She nods. It is one of my many gifts.
Kind of glances down at the table.
And across the table top, you see there's a couple of cards that are already sitting there. One being like a large albatross, and another that has like what looks to be like a stormy night at sea, with like very dark, very very small silhouette of like a small skiff or ship, lightning cracking across like the sky. And then another one where there is a tower that's been struck similarly by lightning that is on fire and burning.
Will you answer a question for me?
That depends on the question.
Will I die in Barovia?
She kind of looks at you and says, "Is it something you fear? To perish here?"
Yes.
Would it make you feel better to perish somewhere else? On your moon sea or the Sword Coast? Where would you feel most comfortable passing?
Somewhere where I can see the ocean as I go.
There are no oceans here in this valley.
He kind of closes his eyes, like kind of reading into that as, yes, you're going to die in Barovia.
It's not what she said, but okay.
Yeah, he's hearing what he expects to hear.
Mm-hmm. And she says, again, that these sorts of questions are not ones that should be answered. For if I were to tell you yes or no, that would affect the way you conduct yourself while you are here. If I were to tell you, yes, you will make it out of Barovia and you will find your way to your salt-covered coast once more, and you will smell the brine on the air once more, you will fling yourself into danger heedlessly, knowing that no matter what the outcome, you will make it home. And that could get you killed, or get someone else killed. On the other hand, if I were to tell you, yes, you are destined to die here in Barovia, your soul forever locked in this dark place, to be reborn again and again as one of Strahd's playthings. Similarly, would you despair and be frozen with inaction? But you were brought here for a reason, Reese Meredith. Which reason do you hope that you were brought here for? To be broken upon Strahd's curse? Or to make it home?
What kind of question is that?
If you are so willing to die, then it does not matter where. If you do not wish to die here, Reese Meredith, then don't.
That's easier said than done.
And unfortunately, these sorts of things cannot be answered. Because like I said, if I tell you, no, you are destined to escape these mists in this valley, then that would affect the choices and the outcome of everything that you do from here on. And the knowledge of knowing might change your ability to succeed. Do you see my point? This is not a question I can answer for you, Reese Meredith.
Then what is a question you can answer?
Ask me.
He sort of looks back towards the door of the tent. No. Kind of pushes to his feet. Like sighs, kind of like a little disappointed in himself. And turn to leave.
Do you need hope, Reese Meredith?
He kind of stops and glances at her over his shoulder. I don't think there's any of that left here.
There are, in some places. And what you bring with you. She is with you still, and always will be. Whether or not you can hear the wings beating or smell the ocean. She is here.
Like opens his mouth as though he wants to ask another question, but stops himself. Then I'll be okay.
May you find your peace.
He leaves. Goes to find a place to sleep near Brannock.
Nope. Is there anything else the rest of you wish to do before the night takes you and you sleep?
I think Redmond would just enjoy his time in a group of, fellow reprobates.
There's probably a few card games that you managed to get going.
Yeah. He might stay up a little late gaming. If anybody is interested in the game, he'd certainly be up for that.
Madam Ava find a spot near the forest, like it's particularly grassy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where he would lay down for the evening.
Yeah, roll me a d20 there, Redwin.
Natural 1.
You lose 9 cold to the Vistani.
I took most of them on anyway.
True. Alright, well, you guys find your rest for the first time since you've come to Barovia. It is unplagued by shadows or ghosts and spirits. No one dreams of anything untoward. A full night's rest is yours.
Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Resting, etc. And the level up. Thanks, Steve.
I was gonna make that joke.
Generous.
Nice try.
What is Mark and that been up to overnight?
Ismark and Arena pretty much like tried to keep to themselves. Like they have like the their disguise or whatever, and they had like their hoods up, and like the Vistani kind of seemed to sense that they wanted to be left alone and didn't push themselves upon them. Kind of similar to like Bran's like gruff. I don't want to share words. They seem to respect their privacy and leave them be. Like no one's like being like super like, oh, who's that or anything like that. They're being quiet and keeping to themselves, so they're being left to themselves.
That would be a fair assumption that they know who they are, considering Madam Ava.
Madame Ava definitely implied. Yeah, Madame Ava definitely implied she knew who they were, but whether or not you get that same impression from the other Vistani, you're not sure.
Okay.
I'd quite like checks to run Strahd at some point so we can hear his Madame Ava impression.
It sounds just like his regular Madame Ava, or his regular voice.
Oh, so you have heard it?
Yeah.
Not even. They're not over too lower.
Oh. I can see Severin. Hold on till I get my cane suit.
Granny?
Right. Well, the next day is yours. The Vistani offer you breakfast and coffee to help the splitting heads of those who drank too deeply or stayed up too late. And oh man, yeah, I'm gonna retroactively add something to the story times, 'cause they had another story that they were gonna tell, and I want you all to hear it. So like during like the night or the evening or whatever, before you all go to sleep, one of the other Vistani kind of stands up and recounts another tale for you, telling you that a mighty wizard came to this land over a year ago. I remember him like it was yesterday. He stood exactly where you're standing. A very charismatic man, he says, pointing at, we'll say Reese, as he's like sneaking away. And this is why you all saw him trying to, standing right where you are right now. A very charismatic man he was, and he thought he could rally the people of Barovia against the devil Strahd. He stirred them with thoughts of revolt and bore them to the castle en masse. When the vampire appeared, the wizard's peasant army fled in terror. Few stood their ground and were never seen again. The wizard and the vampire cast spells at each other. Their battle flew from the courtyards of Ravenloft to a precipice overlooking the falls. I saw the battle with my own eyes. Thunder shook the mountainside, and a great rock tumbled down upon the wizard. Yet, by his magic, he survived. Lightning from the heavens struck the wizard, and again he stood his ground. But when the devil Strahd fell upon him, the wizard's magic couldn't save him. I saw him thrown 1,000 feet to his death. I climbed down to the river to search for the wizard's body, to see it, if he had anything of value. But the river, Ivlis had already spirited him away. He says dramatically, kind of looking off towards like the river that's on like the edge of the camp, and looking downstream as though like the body had carried it past like this very spot.
Is it morning again?
Yes, it's morning now. I just wanted you guys to hear the battle of the Mad Mage and Strahd. But yes, the morning is yours, and you get back on the road. Ismark and Arena, like, finally relaxing and kind of breathing a sigh of relief as you all continue on.
Before we get too far outside the camp,
Mm-hmm.
I think Redwin would like to address the group a little bit and say, before we head off further, I think it might be wise that we agree on a couple things before we continue on with this partnership. First and foremost, we don't fucking hit each other in the head no more unless one of us is trying to bite the other one's neck.
I'd like to second that motion.
Meadowman nods silently and surprisingly stoically.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like glance at Brannock.
Brannock's not really looking at anyone. He doesn't affirm to that or deny it.
Well, I mean this with all seriousness. I don't think I plan to be part of any partnership in which we can't respect each other's personal fucking space in that regard.
How about we agree if there's innocence involved, we do a whole hell of a lot less talking.
Motion.
That seems strange to me, and I'll tell you why. I'll agree that innocence should be protected no matter what. For me, when I see someone with a child in their power, my first goal is to end that power. If you act aggressively against the person who controls a child in that way, you don't know how they might hurt them. That makes agreement. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think a few arrows probably would have ended that child's suffering a lot sooner.
That creature was not human. You don't know how much it would have taken to bring it down. I can admit that I made a tactical error by continuing to discuss with her to see what children might be helped if there were more. We would never know if she were dead. But
Right, but she knows we're coming. She knows we know where she is. So why the fuck would she be there? Yeah, we're going to this mill. Everyone's super keen on going to this mill after we fucked up. But why the fuck would they even be there? It's supremely confident in her abilities to defend from all of us. Why don't she just leave and then we never find her? We never find every other fucking kid she takes. So much for the one she's already taken. What about the one she's gonna take?
I just admitted that I made the tactical error. But to impugn my character for what were, I to deal with the tools the gods gave me. I'm not going to stand for that. You don't know me. You don't know my mind or my heart. So I thank you kindly. not to cast aspersions my way.
Right, but you're free to cast other dispersions on how we think and feel. Every given fucking moment.
I don't think I have. I called you sanctimonious because you spewed sanctimony at me continuously. And I called you thoughtless because you don't think. But I've tried my best to have a dialogue with you, and you seem committed to just being angry.
All we're doing is laying out some of the conditions. You want to lay out the conditions for working with you? We want the same kindness.
And you can have it.
Less
Innocent
talk.
life.
And let us do our job.
Innocent life should be protected, of course. It's why we're all here. It should be obvious to everyone that there has never been a more custom-made group of people for the job at hand than the one right here. But we need to have some fucking terms.
I mean, we don't talk when there's innocent people's life on the line. We do what we have to do. That's the way the three of us have been operating, and it's served us just fine.
Well, I hope it doesn't cost us nothing then.
Ismark kind of, and Arena kind of chirp up at this, and he's just all like, Arena kind of says, is like, not to put myself in the middle of this conversation, but if I'm completely honest, you all don't really have much choice when it comes to working together, because, you know, if you all split up, be like giving candy to babies or leaving a goat out for the wolves or something, she mutters.
It's a fair point, but I had a mighty nice time with the Vistani. Maybe they're feeling hospitable. Maybe I'll wait it out.
And then what are all the fucking children gonna do, eh? You just said you're in it for the kids. You're in it for the innocent. Have it back, are you? Or are you happy to keep going?
I'm happy to keep going. As long as we can agree that it's not alright to fucking hit my friend in the head. That's a very valuable head. He's a very smart man. And he's been through a lot.
Right. If he's so smart and if he's been through such a lot, maybe he could read the expression on that holy man's face the next time he's mourning over dead children. Be fiddle with what's left of them.
Fiddling
Maybe he'll
with...
ask nicely first.
Sorry, say it again.
Or maybe he'll ask nicely first. Think he can do that?
Oh, he should have asked nicely, I agree. Or he should have communicated what he was doing. But Madam, I think you know at this point that the way to minister to a person is not with a mace.
I was angry. I acted in anger, and that's not okay. But I apologize for last my gesture of whiskey. Mead. Sorry, mead's different.
Whiskey mate.
Mino got anything to say about this?
You there, Chex?
Yeah.
He's still slightly concussed.
Okay. Alright.
I mean, it didn't knock him unconscious.
I mean, how long did you guys
was a-
ride Tanith for beating
I mean, this is where, like,
Mortimer?
points as an abstraction get a little complicated, because most people get hit by a giant in the head with a mace, they go unconscious.
Yeah, the other thing is a mace is like real sharp.
Yeah.
So there's probably a couple holes in his skull.
All I'm saying is I got a lot of shit for whenever I hit Liam in the head with a
I think it's
mace.
because you
You
almost
almost
killed
killed
him
me.
immediately.
I did roll a crit.
Yeah, didn't you? Or
I'm sorry.
something? You
Yeah,
did
I crit. I crit
Horrendous
on.
damage. Not...
I crit on
Yeah,
him.
what's
Yeah.
He's
But-
dead
Well,
now.
I appreciate the comparison. It's not quite accurate, is it? Is it
Yeah.
now?
We're gonna
See,
bring that up.
he met your character, and then now he's dead forever. You know?
I mean, to be fair, he
That's
was
not-
dead when he met
To be
her
fair, he was
character.
dead beforehand.
He was dead
Yeah,
the
so
entire
you-
time.
You killed him a second time.
That's not what
That's
happened.
not-
That's not what happened. And also, like, you
I'm
don't
the DM.
you don't grab somebody with PTSD.
He did.
Also, I mean, you don't grab someone when you look like a corpse.
Corpse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that you like cough and get up very slowly.
If I was playing a horror character, I was gonna have my jump scare moment.
Yo, yeah, you definitely got it, and you got a very reasonable response to it, which was getting beamed across the face. They weren't in a fun house. They were in a scary fucking place where things were trying to kill her. Anyways.
Metal Man
so-
sort of.
The
Sorry,
horror man said he's sorry. Is there something reciprocated? And he's looking at between my now and Red.
I mean, I accept the apology, of course, but bearing in mind I'm a man of scholarly works. You say to read the facial expression. I must confess I've not got much in the experience when it comes to social cues. So perhaps, yes, I did misread.
Right. Next day you're involved, you're going to ask permission, right?
next time that people are involved. Let's make it less specific.
If you need the lesson, I think you got the lesson. I'm just making sure it's stuck.
Like the piece of my skull that's stuck on the end of his mace.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I mean, you grew it back overnight because you healed. So
Technically, you're at maximum hit points.
And that hole in your head, that's just ventilation.
it's a quicker way to let your thoughts out.
You know,
It's a skylight.
it's better. It's better that, like, you know, he broke the skin. It gives like the brain pressure somewhere to go.
He's just got some.
I what that whistling is when I walk into the wind. It's my fault.
The human flute.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing as hard as I am, but it's very funny. Anyways,
We have a couple more ground rules then. Communication between us is vital. Communication between our enemies can.
Sure. Again, I'll let everyone know I made a tactical error. However, I don't regret using my mind to save a child's life, which, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, is what I did. So I can't apologize for it. But I can promise to do my best to let you take the lead.
We've let some innocents down already. Let's try and keep that number to a minimum there, eh? That goes for everyone. Let's try and not make the same mistakes again. We can't afford it.
Kind of looking at Bran like a bit of a so.
Which bit do you want me to react to? Because he's already argued about how much you saved the child, and he's never threatened to hit anybody. So
That was all based aimed at me. I'm imagining.
no, he's looking at me. So just ask him which bit did you want him to reply to, particularly.
Oh, well, I mean, he's saying, you know, he's not sorry for doing his best to help somebody.
Sure.
But he'll agree to let you take the read. He's just looking to see if that's sufficient, really.
Right. Okay. Friend's gonna like look at you for a bit. And then right. There are times when you can use your head. There are. Like when you went to that shop or whenever. But there are also times when someone putting a kid into a bag is all you need to know. That's all I need to know. And yeah, doing that, and we didn't know everything she could do. And I don't believe you knew she could just disappear when you walked into that.
Of course not. But that was exactly the point. I didn't know what she could do.
Then we don't need to give them the chance to do whatever they can or cannot do.
My
No,
talents,
you go.
my talents lie in reading people and lying. That's what I know how to do. And a few tricks. I read her, and I saw that she wanted to either get away from us or make a deal. She ran away, we couldn't take the kid. But if I talked to her, I could get the kid. My arrogance caused me to push further. I don't think I'm alone in making unwise tactical fucking decisions in this group so far. There's been a number of them. So a little patience and compassion with one another. A little bit of grace. Kind of looks over to Meadowmaid.
A little bit of what, sorry?
Oh,
Grace.
A little bit of grace.
Oh, sorry. What's grace?
A little bit of grace. Anybody got some?
Oh, yes, good. Okay.
Might be an ointment or a balm upon the wounds of this group.
You did what you did. I can't take it back now. What we can do is try and fix it in the future.
Exactly.
Guess I'll
It's new
take
to a
it.
lot of you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's new. This is all new to a lot of us. And there's going to be things that we've never seen before. And hopefully never see again.
Well, one thing's for fucking sure, I'll be done with all your faces when it's done. I'll smile and start walking down the road.
So you guys continue on following the river to the base of the canyon, at the far end of which a great waterfall spills into a pool, billowing forth clouds of cold mist. There's a great stone bridge that spans the canyon nearly 1,000 feet overhead. As you approach right here, since you're coming from the footholds, you guys are like underneath where the bridge are. But yeah, the bridge is kind of cloaked in like this black moss, and like you see like gargoyle sculptures kind of carved into the sides of the bridge. But you continue on your way without incident through this little passageway, and continue on for a couple more hours. For those who are foraging or doing any other sort of
Yes,
whatever, you could travel about 3 hours until you come across ahead of you the fog and forest kind of encloses in around you all, and like even here in the mountains, the forest and the fog are inescapable, and ahead the dirt road splits into two, widening towards the east, and there you see patches of cobblestone suggesting that the eastern branch was once an important thoroughfare. And it kind of, like to the east, you can see, let me put you pointer, to the east you can kind of see the castle in the distance. Parked at the fork of the road, pointed east, is a large black carriage drawn by two black horses. The horses snort puffs of steamy breath into the chill mountain air, and the side door of the carriage swings open silently as you approach.
West.
Hmm?
What's to the west?
More road.
So is this at the gate or past that?
This is, you haven't reached the gate yet.
We're just at the crossroads, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just at that crossroads.
Mhm.
And there's a
Yes.
carriage.
Yeah.
Sorry, I rolled a 14 on my foraging stuff.
You don't have to roll for the foraging. You have to roll for the creation of the potions and stuff,
Okay.
which you haven't done yet. So you have however
So I
many
have-
hours worth of supplies.
Yeah, so that's gonna be, well, only one, because I can. That's.
Yeah.
It takes me 2 hours to forage one thing while traveling.
Yeah. If you have extra supplies, you can use it while you're crafting to lower the DC of the crafting.
Sweet. Or I can craft 2 potions.
Right.
Hold on. There's a black carriage with its door just swung open and
Mm-hmm.
2 black horses. Our healer is staring westward, and the other guy's in the bushes picking berries.
No, he did that on the way.
Yeah, he's been doing that on the way. Yeah.
Could I send what the fuck's my familiar's name? Bexley over the carriage?
Yeah, you can send
Fine.
it over
Biscuit.
to the carriage. Yeah,
No.
there's Bexley and Biscuit. You like the BB
Well-
familiars. To the west, you can kind of see the stone gates in the distance. Northwest. But yes, you send Bexley over, and like there's send him inside the carriage or what?
Hmm?
You're sending him over to the carriage and
Oh,
what?
to see what's inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like sit outside, look in the door. If it's clear, fly in.
The carriage is empty, and there's no teamster or driver that you can see in the area.
Could I do an investigation check through Bexley's senses?
Sure. Roll me a perception check using what is he right now? Is he an owl?
An owl. Yeah.
Okay. Using
And I will guide myself.
Meanwhile, just for flavor, like Reese kind of glances over at Devon, and like his sort of turquoise claws like elongate and like grow out as he's like preparing for a fight.
Already an arrow.
Yeah, Arena kind of shivers as you all are standing there in like the mid-afternoon. I would say sun, but the mist kind of keeps that from being a bit of a misnomer.
It's a 19 for, you said, perception?
Yeah, the interior of the carriage is completely empty. There's like nothing underneath the seats or up in the cushions. It's kind of like gets up there and like shoves one of like his creepily long owl legs into the cushions looking for anything stuffed in there.
Owl skeletons are really goofy looking too.
Yeah, and also he is a skeleton owl, so that is basically all you see. So you guys don't actually see like, the big long like fur covered belly. You just see like, the creepy ass long legs of the owl familiar.
He's so cute.
But yeah. He just kind of like hops over to the edge of the carriage with like his head looking backwards at you all and just kind of like shrugs.
Seems clear.
Do we notice Irina shivering?
Yes, because I said it out loud.
Are you alright, Gary?
I don't like that, she says, pointing towards the carriage.
No, I'm not particularly fond of it either, Gary.
And Ismark kind of says, stories about the black carriage takes you all the way to Ravenloft. Don't think any of us should get inside.
Agreed.
The horses normal? Or are they like hell steeds or something?
They are
Oh, no.
normal-looking draft horses. They're just
Right.
kind of
Oh, it's fun. Let's get in then.
yeah, they're just snorting puffs of steamy breath because it's really cold.
Is there a place that I could whip the bridle or something and like cut it or damage the thing that it's tied to so they could be freed?
Sure.
Anywhere near to it? Okay.
Reese will like raise a hand before you do that. He's gonna scuttle over, cast Speak with Animals.
I'll take 10 minutes and cast Detect Magic.
Okay. I'll let you know whenever that kicks in. Uh,
Um,
are you casting Speak with Animals as a ritual, or are you just casting it?
yeah, just fucking casting it.
Okay.
I ain't got that kind of time.
All right.
Oh,
Reese,
10 minutes is a long time when you're dealing with skeleton horses. I know they're not skeletons. But
they're not skeletons, but yeah,
they
you
presumably have skeletons.
yeah.
But
Fair,
you don't know that for sure.
fair. You would have to open them
One
up. Steaming innards fall to the ground, and the other one shrieks in terror. No,
Each skeleton's actually two Vistani.
it's like two guys from an office party stuffed inside. Yeah, no, you approach, and like the one of them that you're like nearest to kind of like begins bobbing his head and like that horsey, like, hi, hi, hi.
Who's your master?
And the horse that's kind of bobbing his head excitedly kind of like stamps his hooves in place, and he like kind of pawing in the direction of the castle.
Oh. Do you wish to be freed?
if it's a domesticated horse, probably not. Who will feed me?
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at Speak with Animals just to see how clearly they could communicate with you. And he kind of like leans forward and kind of like nips at your shoulder and just like,
He'll kind of give it like a hearty pat on the back and turn back. These are Strahd's. He'll look up at the castle.
I mean, I kind of guessed. Like the castle.
Is there anything else you think we might need to know?
I mean, do they know how to fucking kill him?
I was going to ask the same thing, funny enough, Gary.
You might
How
ask
they
them
get on?
why when they left.
and then like
I will.
the one horse is kind of like nuzzling the back of Reese's head and kind of like nipping at like the feather in his hair, like trying to tug it out.
I'll just kind of chuckle and like pat its face affectionately. Maybe he's like, gonna give it a couple spare berries or something. Yeah, he had.
As soon as you're over there, do you want to untie him before I set this coach alight? That was my main plan.
Reese will nod and begin untying, like just talking to the horses and sort of being nice and gentle with them, like stroking them and patting them and stuff.
Meadowmane will
Yeah.
do the same, knowing that he can speak to them and they can understand him, but he can't speak. They can't speak back.
Yeah.
Apparently, Thorwald can do.
For Reese's benefit, then the second one that has been like silent like this entire time is kind of like begins like biting at like the other one's shoulder and is kind of like, cut it out, cut it out. You're not supposed to be nice to him. And the other one's just kind of like continuing to like make like horsey little chuckles and like trying to nibble on Reese's cloak.
It's all right, friend. I'll say to the other.
He just kind of snorts in your direction.
Someone playing a guitar?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Sorry, I thought it was Mickey.
I like how he was just gonna pretend it wasn't him though. Until I was
strange
I thought someone-
atmospheric.
I thought someone was just playing like a evil sounds. 2 hours.
apparently Minar is part bard
I have my magical iPod with me.
But yeah, like the horses, the second horse kind of gives you like a leery look, Reese, and doesn't seem interested in having a conversation with you. While like the other one is still like trying to, play with your cloak. Like it's figured out, found like the latch on like the front that's kind of like keeping it closed, and is like currently like trying to unlatch it.
Oh no, it's time to undress him.
Oh, not again.
it's like one of the horse video I saw on Facebook once of like the horse
God.
that the
I don't
no
wanna know.
hold on that like it had like a girl's zipper in its mouth, and it was just doing the nodding thing, going zip zip zip
yeah.
zip zip zip.
That's fine.
Yeah, Reese is very much enjoying the horse and sort of forgets where he is, and is just like patting it and chuckling and like calling it a very clever horse and stuff.
Like Branna's like lit the torch by now, and he's like, "Come on."
Yeah, this horseplay all well
Reese?
and good, but we're gonna have to wait.
As they're untying the horses, Meadowman's gonna ask, "Did you say anything to the horses back at the Vistani camp, dearie?"
Yeah. One or two things.
I hope they were kind to you. And he just carries on untying it, not pressing any further.
They always are.
If you don't
There's a-
understand, I can't understand it.
There's a few kids that might need our help within the next day or two. If you could move it along.
Yeah, Reese will untie the horse.
As soon as
Well,
they're free of the carriage, they take off in the direction of the castle, the friendly one turning back to Reese one last time and unsnapping his cloak before takes off tail high as they gallop away.
Reese will just
How
sigh and pick up his cloak.
I half
Alright.
expected not to burn, but I throw the torch in anyway and then walk off.
It doesn't, unfortunately, but the the fire of the torch kind of messages surely made.
Good.
But yeah, you all continue on your way towards.
Well, I was curious what kind of magic was on. I mean, I figured it was magic, but I kind of wanted to know what kind.
Oh, right. Sorry. Apologies.
Okay.
Yes. So, as you cast, what spell would that be? Sorry, I'm.
That's okay.
Strahd, splendid splarage. I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be something really clever.
It
Really?
doesn't. I realized, like, as I said splurge, that it doesn't. None of the other ones really alliterate, except like modern, like, but
Like, over the like carriage itself, like the carriage itself isn't has a bit of abjuration magic on it, and like the horses themselves, like you kind of saw like an aura of like enchantment over both of them.
Okay. All right.
And of course, like you saw like the divination magic surrounding Reese from his own spell, but nothing
Okay.
else. The carriage doesn't burn. You all continue on towards the second gate of Barovia. This one is in much the same condition as the other. After winding through the forest and craggy mountain peaks, the road takes a sudden turn to the east and... Oh, wait. That's the wrong one. Wrong description.
The devil Strahd jumps out in front of you.
Yeah, it was all like, you guys are at the castle. Wait, that's not right. That's if you guys got in the carriage. But yeah, it is similar to like the original gates that you came through whenever you first arrived in Barovia, but instead of like this one, like the statues on either side of the gate are intact. Like there's not any like they're not the armed guardians that flank the gate are whole. And again, as you approach, the gates swing open as you approach. Almost
Don't know if I'll ever
eerily.
get used to that there, eh?
But yes, you quickly pass through these, knowing that your destination is further ahead of you. And
I'll have Bex lead us up in the air doing scouting.
Sure. And as you all continue on your way through like this another stretch of woods, you see in front of you a figure that walks alone with the stride and bearing of one who knows no fear. Clad in rusty armor, the figure clutches a gleaming longsword in a pale hand and looks ready for a fight.
It is currently daytime?
It is currently daytime. And
As best we can tell.
yes, as you can tell, it's like late afternoon around this time.
Too early for me, probably.
I mean, you don't know if he can daywalk or not, but definitely too early for one of his spawn, based off of what you might know. But you see, like, this figure's wearing, like, tattered chainmail, and across, like, he's got, like, this kind of tattered and rotted-looking cloak, and along one shoulder is, like, a large pauldron that's in the shape of a silver dragon in flight. Like, he's got, like, one pauldron that's just, like, this huge silver dragon, and he his skin is like pale and deathly so, and as as the figure sees you approach, he kind of like straightens up like jerkily and like raises his sword and approaches, and we will leave off there as a revenant is striding towards you.
Can I speak with animals?
Yeah, speak with
As soon as
animals.
he touches my arm, I'm gonna smack him in the head.
All right.